Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the audio interview series brought to you by BookNerd.com. This is Mark with the Book Nerd crew. How you guys doing? Thanks for checking this out. Hope you guys are doing well. So in this interview we had a long, in-depth talk with Paul Scanlan, who is a CEO and co-founder of Legion M. It's an entertainment production company that works on all kinds of cool things. It's a one-of-a-kind business. I only knew a little bit about it before I got to talk to Paul himself. A really great guy. He really took me to school on what Legion M is, what it's about. So check it out. It's a lengthy interview, about 30 minutes, but very, very interesting if you're into the entertainment business and whatnot. Really worth checking out. Their website is legionm.com. We'll touch on a little bit more after that. So let's start up the interview machine and get to it. Hey guys, Mark with BookNerd.com here. We're talking with Paul Scanlan, who is the CEO and co-founder of Legion M. It's actually a fan-owned production company, and you know, I could sit here and talk to him blue in the teeth, but Paul, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I can only imagine you're a very busy guy, and so it means a lot for you to call in and talk with us about Legion M. Now, can you tell us what Legion M is?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, you did a pretty good job describing it. I mean, we are a fan-owned entertainment company, and what that means is we're literally, from day one, from the time we started the company, we're owned by fans, and we're allowing fans to own the company. And our whole philosophy around this is that we think an entertainment company should be owned by fans and not Wall Street. And it's not to say that Wall Street, isn't a viable investor or any of those things. And, a lot of the largest entertainment companies we have are owned by Wall Street today. Mm-hmm. And, they, for the most part, do a pretty good job. And we're fans of them, but we just believe that an entertainment company that's owned by fans can be differentiated. And what that means is that if we're owned by fans, we can do more than they can do. Right now, I think we would all agree that most of the largest entertainment companies are kind of stuck in a cycle of reboots and sequels and all those things, which is great and it's fine. And, we all celebrate those franchises and happy to see the next Star Wars movie or Marvel Cinematic Universe film come out. But, we believe that entertainment should be more than that. And we're worried that, without new original IP, the industry is being starved of creativity.
Right.
So anyway, our goal is to unite fans together to co-own what we think could be, one of the greatest entertainment companies on the planet. And we call it Legion M, and a lot of people ask us, what does the M stand for? And if you look at our logo, our M has a bar over it, which is the Roman numeral for 1 million.
Oh wow, okay.
Our goal is to unite 1 million fans together to co-own an entertainment company. And if you think about it, right now the average investor puts about $500 in Legion M. We don't want anyone putting their life savings. We warn everyone that this is a high risk investment, but potentially high reward if we're successful.
Right.
It's a startup. But if we're able to unite 1 million people, and we really feel like we can, and that average stays the way it is, we'll have $500 million to invest in projects that have 1 million fans emotionally and financially invested in our project. That could be one of the most influential entertainment companies on the planet. And so, 2 years ago, we started the company with that goal in mind, and we're happy to report that, 2 years later, we've had 2 record-breaking rounds of finance. We've had multiple projects hit the market, some that are still queuing up to hit the market. We've got many new announcements that we're making. We've united over 35,000 people. It's been amazing. And we've really, I think in that time period, we've seen the value of uniting fans together. That it really is. It's not just about the money, right? The money is one, right. It's literally just one aspect of it. But the power that comes from having that community that can get behind your project and that can add value to the project in production, all those things, yeah, we're more bullish now than we were 2 years ago when we started the company.
Well, after a couple years of success, I would hope so. And congratulations on the continued growth. It looks like there's no stopping you guys. I do want to ask, since you guys are one of a kind, which means this hasn't been done before. Well, let me back up. Has it been done before and it wasn't successful, or are you guys the first that you know of?
We're the first that we know of, and and a lot of people don't realize this. I mean, the main reason why it hasn't been done before, in fact, Stan Lee, the co-creator of the Marvel Universe, is quoted as saying, "Legion M is such a good idea, he wishes he had thought of it." And Stan's been great; he's a huge advocate of ours. But what a lot of people don't realize is that up until 2 years ago, when we started the company, legally, if you wanted to go out and go to fan and do crowdfunding with equity, you weren't allowed to do it. So, Kickstarter and Indiegogo and all these crowdfunding phenomena, has occurred. But what people don't realize is that none of those companies have legally been allowed to sell shares. You can sell T-shirts or coffee mugs or ask people to make donations, but you can't sell shares, or you weren't allowed to sell shares up until 2 years ago. So literally, there was a thing, an act that went before Congress to upgrade and update our securities laws because, they had just become outdated. That, if you wanted, the only people allowed to legally invest in startups are what the SEC defines as an accredited investor. Right. So that means they already have $1 million in net value, not including their home or net worth, not including their home, or they make over $250,000 a year. So this is the top 3%, the wealthy, what we call the wealthy elite. So in an economy that's dominated by startup growth, the only people legally allowed to invest in startups are people who are already wealthy. So, I mean, it was really an example of how the system has been rigged for so many years. And so, of course, there was some public outcry, and, we had the Occupy Wall Street movement, we had all these things. And, one of the outcomes was an upgrade to our securities laws to say that's not fair. And anyone should be allowed to invest in startups. It needs to be SEC regulated so that, people don't get taken advantage of.
Right, of course.
But there's no reason why the average investor or the average person shouldn't be allowed to invest in startups, assuming that they, do their research and understand the risks. And so, with Legion M, we go way out of our way to make sure that everyone that's investing in Legion M understands that this is not like buying, shares on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, but it is, it is a worthwhile opportunity. And, we warn people not to invest their life savings, as I mentioned before. The minimum investment's $100, so it's not like venture capital where you need millions of dollars if you want to play.
Well, thank goodness for that.
And we also allow people to join for free. And we're super transparent about everything, and we have audited financials, and we share all of our expenses and our income, and all that stuff gets shared publicly. So we're like a little mini IPO, but it allows us to unite fans together at the very early, like at the ground floor, and let them participate because, to be honest, that's where they can add the most value. I mean, if you go buy shares in Disney and you're going to go see their movies, that's not going to really move the needle for Disney, right? I mean, they don't care. And for the most part, there probably are some fans that own Disney stock, but most of the stock is owned by, Wall Street, hedge funds and different things like that, mutual funds. And in our case, we just, on day one, like our first major round of financing came from fans. And what that means is, like, we have co-owners in the company, and we're a community. We see the company first and foremost as a community. We're all really well connected online. We have a Facebook group. We have forums. We have meetups all around the country. We get together. We go see our films. We go see other films. You know, it's like an experience. You know, we had a big presence at Sundance this year, where one of our films was accepted into Sundance, and we're super proud to report ended up being one of the best reviewed films at Sundance, and just got a 4-minute standing ovation at Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's our film Mandy, starring Nicolas Cage. That's coming out in the fall.
I've heard of that, and I knew it was doing very well. Before we jump into your upcoming projects, I am kind of curious, with this never having been done before, was this an idea you guys had kind of just milling around in your heads, and then as soon as you were able to jump on it? Or is this something you guys thought of after the changing in the laws and you guys would be able to do it? I mean, where does an idea like this come from?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the answer is, like, it was a little bit of both. So Jeff Anison, my co-founder, he and I started Legion M. We also started another company 18 years ago called Moby TV. And we had direct experience when we were raising our seed capital for that company and going out to friends and family, you know, to try to get it started. We were leaving our jobs, and it was a tech company that became a media company. We had friends and family, like literally brothers and sisters, that wanted to invest in our company. And we thought, oh, that's great. You know, not a lot of money, but like $5,000, $10,000 here, because they believed in us and thought that we would create something successful. But when we went and met with the lawyers, they quickly told us that, hey, that's not allowed. And, you know, we tried to explain, like, well, this is, you know, these are our siblings. You know, people don't realize that the law is the law, and it doesn't matter how well you could be, you know, your best friend. It doesn't matter. They're legally not allowed. So we had to give those people their money back. And we paid them a little bit of interest, and we had only had the money for like a couple of weeks, or maybe like 2 months before we realized and had to give it back to them. So it wasn't really that big a deal. But then we went on, the people that were accredited investors were allowed to participate. We ended up raising venture capital. We grew a massive company with, you know, offices around the world, became one of the market leaders in streaming media, won an Emmy award, and we had all this success, but the people that like probably would have benefited the most weren't allowed to participate. It just felt so strange to us. And so it became something that we're personally aware of. And when the Jobs Act was put forth before Congress in 2012, we started tracking it pretty closely, and then ultimately became evangelists for it. And literally on the day that these new rules were available, we launched our company. Actually, we had announced our company a couple months prior in March, and then in May, when the rules became available, we opened up our first round.
So it was a long time coming then. So it
was a long time. Yeah, it started 18 years ago, having kind of, you know, the eye-opening experience of, wait, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That seems weird. And then following the Jobs Act, and then, you know, for us, we think the Jobs Act and this whole new trend in investment is good for any industry. And we think it's good for the economy. And as long as entrepreneurs and investors are both responsible and not taking advantage of the situation and not being, you know, acting in good faith and being transparent and all those things, we believe this is ultimately a really good thing for the United States and for the economy in general. We think it's an amazing once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the entertainment industry. There's no other industry that quite compares when you think of the value of having fans as investors. Really, entertainment it's 100% driven by the fans. It's one of the things about the industry that we feel like, and have felt this way for a while, being fans ourselves, that, you know, the industry kind of deprioritizes the fans. I mean, fans drive the industry, and of course, you know, content is created for the fans. But for the most part, fans have been kind of on the outside looking in. And, you know, there's this huge wall around the industry. So we call it opening the gates to Hollywood. We think there's incredible value to inviting fans in to not just be on the same side of the table, but to really, like, get involved. we've already seen the value in that. Like our investors, we have some investors I would describe as maybe passive investors, but most of our investors aren't passive at all. They're very actively involved, and when we show up at Sundance or we show up at, a Comic-Con, they come out, they help us out, they might participate in, all the events and things that we're doing. They're organizing their own meetups. When our films come out, we have a meetup maker where we publish all the showtimes. We just did this with our film Bad Samaritan, where, it went out into over 2,000 theaters in the U.S., and so we had volunteers organizing meetups where they'd get their friends and family and other Legion M members of the community together to go see the film together. And it's great fun. It's really a great experience for them and for all of us, but it's also good for business, to do that. And so, yeah, we feel like we've tapped into something special where we don't have a term for it, but I feel like we found this opportunity, and within Legion M, what we're discovering is that so much of what we do has this dual benefit, where it's really fun and enjoyable and like you'd want to do it anyway, but it's also good business.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it has this dual benefit that I think makes it, extra special. And it's also, I think, what makes it extra valuable.
In some cases, if you invest money in something, that's it. You just invest in it and you never do with it. That would be what you refer to as a passive investor. But you guys actually give the opportunity, and you did say some people volunteer and take it upon themselves, but that ability to participate in anything beyond just investing probably feeds the fire a lot. Am I correct in saying that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like the way we look at it is we call it total ROI, return on investment. There's the financial ROI, and that's a really important component to us because we're not like Kickstarter or Indiegogo where, you made your contribution, you get a T-shirt or a coffee mug, and you're happy. In our case, if you made a $100 investment, our goal is to make that $100 investment worth a lot more than $100, right? Mm-hmm. And the shares are ultimately tradable. Like you can trade these shares, like you can sell them to someone else at some point. And they, if we're successful and building value in the company, they go up in value.
Right.
But there's another component of it that's super important to us, what we call emotional ROI. And the emotional ROI is you're on the ground floor of a movement in the entertainment industry that is doing amazing things, that is creating films that get into Sundance, go on to Cannes, get a 4-minute standing ovation, and you're playing a role in making that happen. We do something, our production credit is actually a photo mosaic of all of our investors. And so that, whenever possible, that gets put into our production. So this film, Mandy, has a photo mosaic of all of our investors. And so if you're an investor, you get to participate at that level. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it doesn't take anything away from the value of the shares that you bought. So that it's a cumulative thing. Like a lot of people, like we had a presence at Sundance this year. One thing that I want to point out is that when we do these activations, we bring sponsors in to help us pay for them. So it's not like we're taking the funding that we get and that we should be putting towards projects and operating the company, and we're throwing these lavish parties. Mm-hmm. I mean, we bring in sponsors, and we had some great sponsorship support for our Sundance activation. At Sundance this past year in January, we took over a venue on Main Street for the first 4 days of Sundance. It was right next to the Egyptian Theater. It's a great venue called Red Banjo Pizza. We gave away pizza and beer. The beer was donated by Corona, so we had 2 pallets of beer to give away. And for our membership and like people that are a part of the Legion, they might have had on their bucket list for years. They always wanted to go to Sundance. But this year, not only did they get to go to Sundance, they went to Sundance. They had a lounge to hang out with and meet other people, and like they had a community or a family there, mm-hmm. right? And they had a film there. And that film had Nicolas Cage in it, who brought Vince Neil, and they got to go to the premiere, party because we hosted the party at the Red Banjo. So, and we did a private part of that party with just our membership. It's not just the bucket list got checked. It's like we checked it in probably the most extraordinary way.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, we were able to do that not because they contributed and that money went to pay for that experience. They bought shares. Creating and hosting that experience is adding value to the company and to our film that got into Sundance. So it was, all these things are benefiting us, and the fact that we had so many people at Sundance this year talking about our film is benefiting us. So we're creating these experiences for our investors, and they're thanking us, and we're thanking them, for coming out and supporting the film and being at Sundance and helping it have the kind of debut that it had there.
That sounds incredible, and I mean, it sounds fantastic that, as it should be, both parties are thankful of each other's participation. Now, We've started talking about some of your projects. We're talking about Mandy. Again, congratulations on the success at the film festival that I'm having. I'm looking forward to checking that out myself when it comes into wide release later this year. You guys also just had Bad Samaritan come out that starred David Tennant, and I heard great things about that film as well. Going back...
Thank you.
The first project of yours that I saw was actually Colossal with Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis in it.
Yep.
That I saw the trailer for that, and I thought, well, that's a pretty unique take. And then it's a monster movie to some some account. And when I watched it, I was blown away by how different it was. It was a fantastic movie. Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis together were fantastic. The performances were fantastic. Yep. And it just seems that since then, your guys' projects, as you said earlier, they're all new. They're not the same recycled stuff. They're not reboots. There's something new. There's something different, which I think is why people are really responding to them. That just makes me super excited about what you guys are working on and what's coming up. Beyond that, I believe you guys are also going to be doing stuff with TV and maybe even VR as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, Colossal, all the credit goes to Nacho Vigalondo. And one of the things, and he's the writer and director of Colossal, and really, for us, he's like one of the next Guillermo del Toros of our industry. The guy is just supremely creative. And what we loved about Colossal, it was one of our first projects, the first big project that we announced. And what we love about it is it's wildly original.
Yeah. It's
the type of film that really deserves to be made, and we're happy to report made many of the top 10 films of 2017. I think it's the type of film that, honestly, if the trend keeps going in the direction that it's going, will be harder and harder to make. And it's what we want to stand for. Yeah. Like, that movie has been, people love it. And it's, and it was great performances, and it was a statement in a way. We were really fortunate because we were able to make a statement with that film. Like, this is what we want Legion M. This is a prime example, a prototype for what we want Legion M to represent. Mm-hmm. And then, being able to partner with Dean Devlin, who's one of the biggest producers ever, but on an independent film, independently, produced and distributed, and working with David Tennant. We've been, we feel really grateful to the amount of support, the reception that we've had from Nacho and Dean Devlin and, Stan Lee and Kevin Smith and Guillermo del Toro. I mean, these people, they all believe in a fan-owned entertainment company. I mean, because, they're fans themselves, and they get it. So one of our projects, you asked, we have a VR project, and it's kind of fan-oriented. We call it Icons Face-to-Face. It's about creating these experiences with an icon, a living icon of our generation. We shot the pilot episode with Stan Lee, and, Stan's getting up there. He's 95 years old. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to sort of capture the essence of Stan Lee while he's still, vibrant and with us. And we do that in such a way, we actually sort of engineered a little bit of our own technology to do this. We capture the icon in the absolute highest resolution possible. And we use two 8K cameras in a nodal setup in a really tight frame. We have that icon, in this case, Stan Lee, interviewed by his close and dear friend Kevin Smith in Stan Lee's home. Stan Lee has like a party room at his house. It's like his man cave.
Yeah, naturally.
And so we did it in his man cave, which is by itself, just being, shooting that would be fun.
Yeah.
But having Kevin Smith interview him, we brought Stanley's wife, his beloved wife, who sadly just shortly after the shooting passed away. So we have this amazing footage, and the idea is, today when we publish that, we can only publish it at a certain resolution because that's what the VR technology supports. But we know ultimately the VR technology will catch up to what we were able to capture. And what we capture in an Icons episode is we are capturing at the resolution that the human eye can perceive. So we are ultimately creating these time capsules with icons so that 50 years from now, someone can literally be in the room with that person as if they were there. And to their eye, it's indistinguishable whether it's real life or captured.
That's amazing. That's really planning for the future right there.
Yeah, so we shot the pilot episode, but our goal is, we'd like to shoot many of them.
Right.
And so we're out talking to partners, with a lot of Legion M production, like especially with this one, where we'd like to bring in like a big partner to do like 10 to 15 of these a year and build up a library so that we can have it. I mean, the reality is we have the technology today to capture it.
Right.
So capturing Stan Lee, that has value. And one of the things that we're also trying to make smart financial moves, because people are investing in us. And we feel like the VR world, we're big believers in it, and we think that there's a huge future in virtual reality, but it's still taking a while to develop. It's not mainstream yet.
Yeah.
And so we want to invest in things that are going to have lasting shelf life or lasting value, and that's a lot of the content that's being produced today, will look like black and white television in a couple of years, and no one will be interested in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, VR has already come a long way in just the past couple of years since they have started making newer headsets.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right. Yep.
And
so we're excited about it.
You said that this was the pilot. Now, this isn't available yet, right? You guys are just kind of using this to get other people interested.
No, we haven't. We have it in the can, and we've stitched together. There's some technology involved with kind of stitching it together because you create like a 360 view, and we've done a few minutes of it, but we're out talking to partners about creating a franchise and then distributing. This would be one of the first episodes,
right,
but we would have multiple episodes behind it.
Okay. So that's something we can still look forward to then.
Yeah. So we're making an investment. We've got bets on the table, basically. That's one we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, again, that's another innovation. You guys are going where nobody's gone.
Also, it's the type of thing that it can be fan-powered, too, to a certain degree. Like when we did the Stan Lee interview, a lot of the questions that Kevin Smith asked came from our co-owners. We put it out to our co-owners. We did a live stream from the set, and people were able to, go behind the scenes and find out what was happening. But we also let our Legion members and community contribute to who should be the next icons and who else should we be talking to and who are the biggest icons, and then letting them vote on that. These are things that are ordinarily, you'd have to go out and do the research or whatever, but having fans as co-owners, they want to have a voice, and to a large degree, that kind of input and some of the questions that we asked were so creative and smart. It was amazing having our community contribute in that way.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. This is just another perk you would get for going and investing. I mean, it's just not that, like you said, a bucket list of getting the chance to go to Sundance and having the chance to have that pizza party and whatnot as the premiere, but you don't have to go out and get a group of people and ask questions because you already have those fans as part of your company. You just put out a call, boom, you get answers from people that really care about what you guys are doing. Now, if I'm not...
That's exactly right, Mark. Exactly right. And you had mentioned earlier that we've got some TV projects, and that's true. Yeah, we're not only investing in just film and VR, but we're also got multiple TV series in development, some of which we've already announced on our website under our project page. But
if I'm not mistaken, Paul, there's actually an opportunity right now. You guys actually have an open window right now to actually invest in Legion M. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm not allowed to talk about the details, but there is a round open at the moment. Yes.
Okay. And
actually, if you go to our website, Legion M, you can find information about it as well.
Okay, and once again, guys, that's legionm.com. I've been there myself. You have links, you have information, you have everything you need to learn even more about this fantastic company, the opportunity they provide, and their slate of projects, which I'm looking forward to myself personally. Paul, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else you would like to tell anybody out there?
First of all, thank you, Mark, for having us.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate your interest and your support. I think if you go to legionm.com, we've got more information and we keep, one thing that we like to do, we love to communicate. We love to share what we're doing and what's going on, and we're fully transparent about everything. And our website, if you go to legionm.com and you scroll down, you can see kind of basically a diary of everything that we're working on and what we're doing. And, what we found is that a lot of people that are either interested in, they're fans of entertainment or they want to know how things work. It's a great way to learn. It's almost like an education in entertainment because, as we go through the process, we talk about why we shot the pilot and how we did this and what happens next and who are we talking to and what does that deal look like and what about this script we bought. We have a reading club where we read the last one we had, we actually read a script. So we don't call it a book club. Sometimes we read books, but sometimes we read comics or script or whatever. It's just a reading club. And,
that's awesome.
It's a fun thing to do. But yeah, so we're open to everyone. It's been an amazing experience so far, and we're just looking forward to growing it.
You did mention this earlier, just so people do know, if you do go to legionm.com, you can actually sign up and join into Legion M without actually being an investor if you want to be part of the team.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mark. Thank you for pointing that out.
They can go, they can grow with you guys, they can see what's going on. Then if it piques their interest, they can take that next step, but that's up to them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, one of the things that, getting to the whole aspect of people understanding what they're investing in and what is it all about. A lot of times these types of opportunities you have to sort of invest to find out what's going on. In our case, you can join for free and come along for the ride. We don't make a differentiation at Sundance between who there has invested and who hasn't. I mean, to us, anyone that's joining our movement is part of our community, a valuable part of our community. If you decide later to invest, then you own a piece of it and you'll benefit from that piece if we're successful. That's at your option. And so I'm glad you pointed that out. Thank you.
My pleasure. I want to make sure that people know what you guys are all about because I'm amazed. Really, I can't say anything other than what you guys have taken, what you guys are doing, where you guys are going, especially with the VR and the films, obviously, TV. You guys got everything covered. You guys don't have your eggs in one basket. Paul, once again, I want to thank you so much for the time. I want to thank you so much for your time of talking to us today, talking to us about Legion M, telling us where you guys came from, where you guys are going. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, we're back, and that'll conclude this edition of the audio interview series of BookNerd.com. I want to thank Paul Scanlan again for sitting down, taking the time to talk with us, and being the CEO of a production company, and by no means can be a walk in the park. LegionM.com is the website to go to. Check out all the information. You can sign up for free and become a member of Legion. You can check into the process of becoming an investor, which I checked it out myself. It's extremely easy. Just follow the links on the website. And with that being said, if you do choose to invest in the company, that is on your own accord. GeneBookNerd.com has nothing to do with that. Just thought I'd throw that one out there. Also, a couple people to thank. Rob Novicus of Supernova IMC for helping coordinate the meeting between Paul and myself today. And of course, to Gene at GeneBookNerd.com, the book nerd herself. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to get together, learn about this opportunity and the company and what they're doing. That's going to do it for us. We're going to sign off. So from all of us at GeneBookNerd.com, we want to thank you again for checking out this interview. So take care of yourself, and hey, read a book. Thanks again, and that turns another page for GeneBookNerd.com. Hey, Paul, you want to take us out?
Hey, this is Paul Scanlan. I'm co-founder and CEO of Legion M, and you are listening to GeneBookNerd.com.